Hello and welcome to a New Year edition of Bull and Specs, 2018 looking towards. Also a little retrospective as well. Anyway, I'm Adrian Lacey and the other brother in arms is Shane O'Connor, and you're in the Midlands. Is all well in the Midlands as we speak?
It is, although as you can see, there is a bit of a tinsel shortage in this area. Not like I think it all went down to your neck of the woods, didn't it? Really, isn't it? Did you get a delivery?
Not just on my neck, but yeah, slightly over the top. For those listening as opposed to watching us on YouTube, to be honest, you're not missing much. To you, I may have one scintilla of respectability left and credibility left.
Yeah.
For anyone watching, sorry.
I thought it was going to be a great explanation of something there when you said for those listening rather than watching, but you're not missing much. So just be thankful you are just listening.
Yes, I can rattle the. It's not twin set and pearls, but it looks like it. I've got silver beads around my neck.
Yeah, you look like a lady who's been showing her chest in Mardi Gras. You've got so many beads around your neck there as well. It's very festive,
my décolletage, if you don't mind.
I want to say, have you just come from some kind of Christmas New Year party, have you, or something? Or what's going on there?
Only in my head.
Yes. Can I just apologise? We the only tinsel I could muster. Actually, you smell it. It's musty more than muster. Is see this 1970s tinsel, which is the gold one for those listening to the podcast rather than watching it. I don't know. Tinsel wasn't. It was really sad, wasn't it, in those days? Don't you think 1970s tinsel was kind of a bit desperate, really?
Well, everything was, I would say, a little bit, but of course it was better.
It was made with lard, wasn't it? 1970s tinsel. The offcuts.
But we knew what was good for us, didn't we?
Exactly. You're absolutely dead right. I'm saying about, there's a bit of a pun there.
That's an unfortunate phrase, isn't it?
Yeah, we're looking back at the... Because it's a sad time of year, isn't it? We always kind of look back at this time of year and think all the people that we lost over the year.
Yeah.
And of course, that extends to famous people as well. And we've knocked together a quick list, haven't we, of some of the people. I think if we whiz through the list, but like make pit stops for the people that we'd kind of particularly want to give an honourable mention to. Just some of these are not all of the ones that have been lost in the year, of course. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure. Were you going to mention Wolfgang Launinger from Germany, the LGBT activist, or shall I do that?
I think that's right up your alley.
Oh, so to speak. Right. Anyway, no, shall we moving swiftly on, naughty boy.
He's making his own jokes up at that end. I can't believe it.
Who are you going to mention?
Well, I was going to start off with Cheggers because it was the most recent one, wasn't it? Really, as of the recording of this podcast, it was kind of a bit of a, and it was around. It was really weird actually because you sent me a text because I said to you, I've become a father, and you sent me a text saying congratulations as new life comes in, we lose life because we lost Keith Chegwin at the age of 60. For those who don't know, he was a kid actor, wasn't he? I think didn't he start out as a kid actor?
So yeah, and
then did sort of children's TV and stuff like that. But he was like the Marmite of children's TV, wasn't he? I think people either loved him or really just couldn't get on with him at all. And it was interesting in this day of social media. People, in fact, a BBC local radio presenter got into trouble. I think she was Berkshire or somewhere like that, and she tweeted, I can't stand, I hate Keith Chegwin, whatever, and he replied to her.
Actually, you say that. I tweeted about Jonah Lewis' Stop the Cavalry a few weeks ago, because it was this is sort of off and sort of on topic, but it is at least Christmassy. It was one of my more cynical tweets, shall we say. But they were actually playing Stop the Cavalry, a Christmas song, in Next... we name names, in Victoria Station, because my life is, as you know, wall-to-wall glamour. And I just thought this is far too soon for a tune that I've heard far too many times anyway. So I tweeted out, off the back of that, I tweeted, isn't it time for the cavalry to stop Jonah Louis? And I included a picture, because you can get these pictures off a picture website, a sort of resource picture library, and it was a member of the cavalry at a zebra crossing, which I thought was sort of interesting.
Oh yeah, and he was stopping for the cavalry. Oh, it was quite clever, really, in a way. Yeah, go on.
Well, sort of, yeah. But anyway, but then I got eventually a few weeks passed, thought no more of it, and then I got that was retweeted by Jonah Louie.
No way.
And it had the blue tick of the authentic Jonah Louie.
That's awesome.
So he obviously wasn't too upset by it. Perhaps he's heard it too many times. But I imagine it's a bit like Noddy Holder saying, well, it might be you should probably do the accent here, because he's a Walsall lad, isn't he?
He is, I think, yeah.
It might be a song you've heard too many times, the Slade Merry Christmas Everybody, but to me it's a pension plan.
Oh, but to me it's paid for my conservatory.
That's not like it, of course.
He said, yes.
Yeah.
Keith Treguin then, Davy Cassidy died, of course. Did you ever watch The Partridge Family? I don't have vivid recollections of The Partridge Family. It was on TV in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, I quite liked their half-timbered van. Do you remember that was sort of dormobile thing they went around in?
No, I got really vague recollections of The Partridge Family, and I don't know why, because I was certainly around, it was certainly on. I don't know, not really sure about that. But that was sad, only 60. So these are all in their 60s, all these people that have died.
But the thing is, sorry to pause on David Cassidy.
Yeah.
But I always thought of him as old because he was 6 years older than Donny Osmond. Donny Osmond was 16 and singing about 12th of Never or something.
Yeah.
And Puppy Love and all of that. And David Cassidy was, I remember it was in the, probably in Jackie magazine, which I should add, was bought by my older sister.
Yeah, whatever.
But I couldn't help. But now you can get annuals where it's all revived and all reprinted. But anyway, and I remember reading that he was 22 and thought, oh, that's just so old.
Ancient.
22.
Yeah, I hope I live to be 22, you're thinking to yourself.
Yeah, one day.
The one that really annoyed me, and I think it's just lazy journalism as well, was Keith Barron, fine actor, died. We lost him in 2017 at the age of 83. And it really annoyed me because all the papers, all the newspapers were saying duty-free actor Keith Barron, like it was the only thing. People, they focus on this, don't they?
Yeah,
like
he did so much.
And I don't know if you ever saw. He did a drama called Take Me Home. I don't know if you ever saw that, where he's an older man infatuated with a younger woman, and a fine actor called Rhys Dinsdale played the younger woman's boyfriend, and it was about this triangle between the three of them. And I remember it was breathtakingly, incredibly hard performances from all three of them. It was just an amazing thing. And I thought, God, he should be remembered for, if they called him Take Me Home's Keith Barron, so a few more people went back and had a look at it, would be. But Duty Free's Keith Barron, you lazy, lazy, lazy journalist. It really kind of gets me down a bit. But again, another sad passing. Of course, there was the Sean Hughes that you worked with and shared the stage with, and
yes, and of course I dined out on that for 30 years and will continue to do so. But I wish he was around. Not that I would expect him to talk about being on the same bill as me. But no, I was generally sad about that because I felt like I'd seen the entire career life cycle of Sean.
Yeah.
And of course he was only 51. And
again,
just not right. And what to say? I mean, I did a monologue about him on my podcast, which someone was sweet enough to call a beautiful, insightful tribute, and I don't even know them.
No, it was nice that.
It was rather nice.
Yeah, it's the London podcast, by the way. If you want to look it up, it's a fabulous bit of work.
Oh, bless you. And people should go to your personal website too, SeanO'Connor.net, for all your goodies.
Did you say Sean deliberately then? Did you, or did you? Was that?
Did I? Oh no, it's because I'm looking at. Take two.
You rotter.
I do apologise. Yeah, well, I'm looking at the word Sean. There is an excuse. And you're the only Shane I ever met up until I was in hospital, actually, and there was a nurse called Shane.
Oh, was there?
So, didn't tell you. But anyway.
Tom Petty. Never met Tom Petty, but my dad did. My dad worked backstage he worked security as a part-time job at the Birmingham Town Hall. And Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers played, and he said, "What a fine fellow he was." But did you ever meet Tom Petty?
No, but I was expecting to because I was working. Now, I like your name drop of your dad. That sounds like a good gig, and he must have met quite a few people.
Oh, we met them all in again, that was in the 70s, and he met them all from the classical performers to the Noddy Holders and the Tom Pettys and the Steve Gibbons and the Jeff Lynns and all of those kind of people. Yeah,
fantastic. Did he get autographs, or was it? No, it wasn't that kind of job.
You didn't really think of that. I suppose, it wasn't. I mean, because they were like, in charge of the security of the building, sort of thing, and making sure nobody got in stage door and stuff like that. So he wasn't really that kind of. We didn't think of it in those terms then, like you do now. You know, you'd have had selfies with them all now, wouldn't it, I suppose? If
you'd have been flogging the autographs on eBay.
Yeah.
Yes, I nearly met Tom Petty. This is a nice little aside. I was working on a Radio 2 documentary on the Byrds, not the Hitchcock movie, but the folk rock group from the 60s, Tambourine Man and all of that. Lovely group, and lovely jingly jangly sound, which we told the story of. And who did we have lined up at one stage but Tom Petty to do the narration? Now, as another name drop, if I'm allowed, or one of the guitarists from the Pretenders was a contributor, and he said a greater fan of the Byrds you could not have than Tom Petty when I told him. But guess the real rock and roll reason that Tom couldn't do it. He had. Go on. He had dental work lined up.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Because he had really nice teeth, I think. Though I always thought that about him.
For a rocker.
Yeah.
Say what you like about him. So I thought, even a rock god has got to have his teeth sorted at some stage.
Go to the dentist.
So it didn't happen.
Some of the other ones, just whiz through some of the other ones. I just wanted to pit stop. The only one out of the list that we cobbled together that I ever met was Graham Taylor, and what a lovely man he was. I'm glad I got to talk to him before he passed away. We lost Roger Moore, Peter Sallis, Adam West, who of course had a cameo in Family Guy. He was Mayor West in Family Guy, and how brilliant he was at that as well. Carol Lee Scott as Grotbags, and to this very day, when the doorbell goes, I walk down to the door going, "There's somebody at the door. There's somebody at the door." So thank you, Carol Lee Scott, for that one. But two that you were lucky enough to meet and to work with, and I'm so jealous of it, which sadly passed away, was Barry Norman.
Absolute gent.
Who did the film programme for so long. And Brucey as well.
Yeah. We'll get to Brucey in a sec, but my Barry Norman anecdote is very short, but it kind of shows how deluded I could be, but how reasonable he was. I think I teased him at one point off air, just set it because I was sound operator at BBC Television Centre. So we used to do the film programme in the very self-same studio they used to do Whistle Test back in the 70s.
Oh right, okay.
So if you see really old footage, not newer stuff, not the later stuff in the 80s, but in the 70s. And if you saw it, it's a bit bigger perhaps than your lounge, but not much bigger.
Right.
The smallest TV studio they had. Of course, fine for one bloke and a camera, or two cameras perhaps for Barry Norman. Although he did deserve bigger because he was kind of film royalty himself, wasn't he? His dad was a film director, I think, or film producer. I just teased him. I don't know how we even got there, but I just teased him. Oh, he must have loads of women sort of queuing around the block or something. Cheeky boy that I could be, and he said, "I assure you, I do not." And he said it with a big smile, but absolutely insistent that he wasn't living this glamorous lifestyle that I'd obviously decided he was.
And what about Brucey?
What about Brucey? Well, Brucey was a little more challenging, shall we say? But that's not code for saying he was a complete rotter. He wasn't, but he was more. He wanted to be more in charge, and well, that was his catchphrase, was it not? From the 50s. I'm in charge.
I'm in charge. Yeah. Or was that Norman Vaughan?
No, I thought it was Bruce. I thought it came from when he was doing some interaction with the audience, which was his calling card.
Oh, I've got to look that up now.
Maybe at the Sunday night at the Palladium, and they were going off on their own devices, and he said, "No, I'm in charge."
Oh, okay.
So he was quite assertive like that, but not unpleasant with it. The thing I really respect about him, and I was chatting to a sound supervisor who worked a lot on the Generation Game, and I did some of those, the revived ones, not the 1970s ones, thank you, when he came back in must have been the 90s to present it. And the sound supervisor, a very lovely guy called Mike McCarthy, very talented guy, you'll see his name on loads of credits from that era and beyond. He just said the thing that Brucey knows, it's not just about the TV viewer, but he will always give the people in the room, in the studio, the studio audience, a show. And now that might not sound remarkable for someone whose trade is to be a showman, but actually a lot of them, and the newer generation, they're so used to this, we'll stop recording, get the warm-up act on, and then I'll come back when we start recording again. Brucey wanted for them to go away with the feeling there's been a beginning, middle and an end, and they've actually got a continuous show. Oh, and by the way, they've recorded a TV show at the same time as well. And there is quite a subtle difference there, but it's a big deal. Yeah, a sad loss.
You're listening to the New Year edition of the Bull and Specs podcast with Shane O'Connor and Adrian Lacey. We're already going to look at some of the people that we lost over the last year. We also thought we'd have a look at some of the gadgets that made the news and the headlines over the last year as well. And what a bunch, Adrian. There's quite a few, isn't there, in different categories?
Yes, and they do make me feel incredibly old and quite tight with my money as well. They all seem, even when they say budget, it seems like a big budget to me. But hey,
do you know, I'm glad I haven't actually had any of these, because I was just looking at the interactive touchscreen projector, and it's got a slot in the top, and I thought I'd be forcing slices of bread into that, trying to.
It does look like a toaster, doesn't it?
Gran, it's not toasting again. I don't know what's the matter with it. But I don't even know what some of the. Do you know when you read the title and you think, yes, I don't know what that is. Like what, an interactive touchscreen projector was one of the gadgets that made the headlines in 2017. I still don't know what does that mean? Interactive touchscreen projector, does that mean you can project on the wall and then you can go and touch the wall and it would is that? Yeah, it does. It turns any surface into an interactive touchscreen, which is pretty impressive, isn't it? Really, but
yeah.
Then,
how does it sense where you're touching?
But it must project a grid onto the wall where it kind of knows what it's going to do. But for £1,400, I'd expect it to build the wall first, to be quite honest with you. I don't know whether that's just me.
Yes.
You got any favourites amongst these? Any that you picked out? Because it's a massive list, isn't it? Any that kind of grabbed your attention and thought, oh, maybe I should have one of those?
Well, I have been known to lust after cameras. 'Cause I'm old-fashioned enough to like stills cameras, and not ones that are built into your phone. But then I saw the price tag, and this is where I think I'm, obviously a little bit tight. Or this is the Panasonic Lumix GH5, as we all know it, and then in brackets from £1,700.
Yeah,
lest you get too excited. Close brackets.
Although that's cheap for a digital DSLR, isn't it?
Is it? Well, this shows how out of touch with that whole scene I am. This powerful camera has a limitless catalogue of impressive specifications, physical and digital images, blah, blah, blah. It's got 4K, so that's very high resolution, isn't it?
But isn't, I see, I don't know, with this, I'm not sold on this resolution thing. The 4K resolution is if you've got a really big telly, it does make a difference, doesn't it? But if you're just watching on devices or anything like that, 4K, does it make it, other than the fact that the files are just humongous, and living in an area where our internet is almost gas powered. It kind of think, oh yeah, 4K. I mean, I'm not sure I'd want. Do I need that? I don't know. I've got 4K telly, but I've only got 2K eyes.
Yeah. But you wear glasses, so maybe that bumps it up again. I'm not sure. That's where you need your expensive interactive touchscreen projector, perhaps.
Yeah.
But you're right. If you're just watching on a little phone on a train or whatever you're doing, you aren't getting the benefit on a small screen, are you?
I do wonder with the interactive touchscreen projector as well. If you're watching something like The X Factor, and you go and bang your head up the wall because you're so fed up of it, will it just change channels because it senses that you're banging your head up the wall?
Yeah, well, that might be exactly what you want, as long as you bang the right part of the wall to a better channel. What about, because you've got this vast manor, the Shane O'Connor Acres. Have you got security cameras? Or perhaps I shouldn't ask you about your security. Perhaps you should refuse to answer that.
Well, you just try and get in and see what happens.
Yeah.
Aye.
Well, I'll probably get tripped up by the cat or one of your many creatures.
You'll be stood there in shredded trousers before you knew it, mate. And that's just the wife.
Way.
You're talking about these Nest cams, aren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know, I saw these and I thought, oh, what a great idea. And then I thought, hang on a second, if somebody broke into your home, isn't that the first thing they'd steal?
It's possible, but supposedly they'd be recognised by the time they'd stolen it, and by then the information is remote. Apparently it would alert you on your phone. Because
burglars never wear balaclavas, do they?
Well, I think that only happens in the Sweeney.
Oh, right, okay.
You've been watching too much 1970s cop show telly.
But again, one camera, £300. I mean, technology is certainly not becoming more affordable, even if it is getting more sophisticated, is it? It's a lot of money, isn't it? Just for what? So, like, say you had 3 of those, you got the thick end of £1,000 you just spent on some cameras. I don't know.
Well, that brings me back to Brucey, actually, because I did see his house. Can't remember who pointed it out to me. I was working in sound on the Golf. I think he lived Virginia Waters. Wentworth.
Wentworth, wasn't
maybe
it? Yeah.
That was it. Right. And he had so many cameras on his house.
Didn't the back of his house, he could actually go out the back gate, couldn't he, onto the course, I think. I don't know whether that was a urban myth or not. I'm not sure.
I think Cilla Black could go out the front of her house. I think she was on the other side.
Oh, okay.
All these showbiz mates together.
Yeah.
Not sure about Brucey, but I know he had a lot of security cameras, which makes you think, do you really want to be that famous? Anyway, I'm digressing.
Bruce got into trouble with his wife, didn't he? Because he was going to go and have a game of golf with Cilla Black, but his wife shouted, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm just going to go and play around with Cilla Black." And his wife got the wrong end.
Got the ump.
Got the wrong end of the stick entirely. Hey, tell me something. Has anything in your house charged wirelessly? Because this is technology I've still not managed to keep up with or to get on board with.
Our plumbing is wireless, but no, apart from that. my radio.
Have you got anything serious? Have you got anything that charges wirelessly? Because I
no.
That's
it. That is witchcraft again. Surely that's the work of the devil. Because that means there's heat going through the air, or all kinds of energy that we know nothing of.
Is it? You know, it takes me back to on the podcast we were talking about driverless cars and electric cars and all that sort of stuff, and charging through the road. You know, where they put the charger in the road and all that sort of stuff. It's that kind of technology. But I mean, I'm hardly behind the game with technology, with phones and all the rest of it. But I haven't got anything yet that charges wirelessly. So maybe I am behind the game.
Maybe you need Chicken Titan cable. This is more my price point. Is it, from £25?
Yeah, that was one of the gadgets of 2017. And again, Chicken Titan cable. I thought that's the dish there. My local tandoori. Chicken. That is. I'll have 2 Chicken Titan cables, please.
Yeah. And it says I missed the word fuse at the beginning. So is that a fused chicken?
Is that the brand or? It says in the description, you know how it is. You're busy felling a mighty elm with a petrol chainsaw, and your phone charger slips in your breast pocket and is instantly severed by the blades. Well, this Titan cable, double wrapped in flexible steel, it'll never happen again.
Do you think the journalist who wrote that was ever so slightly tongue-in-cheek by any chance?
It just shows you that you're going, oh, that's more affordable, £25, but then it's £25 for a bit of cable to charge your phone. It's a lot of money, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and actually it's from £25, so... Yeah.
Where do you stand on smartwatches? Are you...
that's the trouble. I think I would stand on a smartwatch. They're so small. No, it gets to the stage now where one of the things I have to do when I'm at the Beeb is to check that people's phones are off, because that just comes with the territory. When you get a guest in, especially when you're in a rush and all of that, live program, you can't say, "Oh, we'll stop for your phone going off." Now I have to check. I use a catch-all phrase, which is, have you got any bleeping devices? And I have to list the Apple Watch, because you could turn your iPhone off. Presumably, if you've got an Apple Watch, you've got an iPhone. But then the watch can still make a racket. So it's a daft state of affairs when you have to check that someone's turned their watch off. Yeah,
I must admit, with the Apple Watch, and they sold it on the idea that it was for people who are active and ran and all that kind of stuff, and this is the device for you because it will count how many steps and you can check how far you run and all. And you know, it was the worst marketing thing they could ever done, because I thought, well, that's not for me then. And I've never really been interested in it since. They discounted me from the start because I don't run or whatever, and that was it. I thought, well, I'm not going to buy one then. But yeah, I mean, people who have them are evangelical about them, aren't they? I remember meeting a guy at the airport, and I said, "Oh, have you got an Apple Watch?" And he said, "Yeah." And about 35 minutes later, I thought, I've had enough now. Which I never asked.
He took the back off it and showed you the
exactly got it in bits. Yeah, the one thing that for Luddites like us, well, we're not that bad, are we? But kind of people who are a little bit nostalgic, shall we say, is that I saw that the turntable is making a resurgence. The turntable makes the list, doesn't it, of the 2017 gadgets, which is quite nice.
Yeah, although you say that, I was very happy to see the back of vinyl, I have to say.
It was rubbish, wasn't it?
It was, really. And they're only really designed to play about 30 times before they become, completely knackered. But hey, if people want vinyl, the only thing I would like about it, the thing I mourned, was the loss of a decent-sized album cover with all the artwork that came with it.
Yeah, but then again, of course, with computers, you can blow that up on your screen now and do whatever you like with it, can't you, really?
You can project it on a wall and touch it, if you will.
Yeah.
This is a budget turntable we're looking at. Project Primary.
Right.
In primary colours as well. A mere 189 quid. Well, when you think you could have probably got something like that for a £5 back in the 70s. But,
and to say that's the budget version is...
well, exactly that.
A little bit. Talking about exercise, and I was talking about watches and exercise and all that sort of stuff. You see the home fitness thing, the Watt Bike Atom, 1,500 quid's worth. And I thought, that's great, I've got to get one of those. Because you can hang your washing on the handlebars and right across the middle bit and also on the saddle as well. So that's quite... Because let's face it, that's what these things... like treadmills, all that sort of stuff, home equipment, that's what it ends up doing, isn't it? And you end up putting your washing on it.
I've got 2 words for you. Clothes horse.
Yeah, cheaper as well, isn't it? Cheaper. Should we finish this segment with smart shoes? Because I just want to mention smart shoes.
How smart? I don't want them to be smarter than me. Tell me where to go.
I can't come out today because my smart shoes have gone to the library. I've got nothing to wear. So, go on.
No, I was just trying to work out what's smart about them, apart from the fact that people making them are charging 130 quid a pop.
I was hoping you'd explain to me. That's why I said go on. Smart shoes, they got a sensor in each sole.
Yes.
And they also feature a unique jump test to help determine how hard your next run should be.
That immediately disqualifies you on the basis of what you said.
Yeah.
What you want is a pair of pom-pom slippers that say, do you know what? It's a bit cold outside. Stay in the warm, put your feet up, watch a nice programme.
Now that I could get on board with.
Into the final furlong we go. I suppose I should do that in metric for our European friends, but never mind. Undimmed, unbowed, and unfinished so far. This is Bull and Spec still, of course, for 2018. We're going to talk words. That's what we deal in, isn't it, really? You and me, Shane.
Yeah.
And people in our trade.
I used to have a humanities teacher, and it really put me off the phrase. He used to say, it's our stock in trade, about everything, really. And I thought, and he used to wear a corduroy jacket, and I've never liked the phrase since, and I nearly said it then, but I won't.
I thought you were going to say he used to wear stockings.
Geography was never the same again.
But we digress.
We do.
Okay. Well, despite the fact it's a forward-looking podcast, we're going to look back to the best words, or the allegedly best words of the last year. This is kind of courtesy of, one of the websites I'm drawing on, if I'm brutally honest. Must credit the Oxford Dictionary of English. And do you have any idea what their top word is for 2017? Now, what do we mean by top? Is it the most used? It's the one that I think's made the most impact as a new... here's a word, neologism.
What?
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? If that's a new word to you, then that's because it means new word.
Oh, does it?
Brilliant. Yeah.
Wow.
You've heard it before.
Every day's a school day working with you, isn't it? I hated
not
school.
A compliment. No, yeah, exactly. I knew you were drawing me in there. I know you better than to think you're being complimentary. What are you going to go for the last year?
It's a play on that old joke, isn't it, where he says, I remember the day I married my wife like it was only yesterday, and you know what a rotten day yesterday was. Sorry, go on. What did you say, most used, or...
the one that... No, I suppose the new word of 2017, the word that was new in 2017 that's made the biggest impact. Maybe we shouldn't say that it was only born in 2017, but that it kind of hit resonance, if we can use that phrase.
And it's not nadgers.
It's not cojones.
No.
Trust you to think on those lines.
Do you know, I've been here all night. We've only got about 7 minutes left. Let's just say what it is. What is it?
It is Youthquake.
Oh.
Youthquake.
Oh, right, okay.
Now,
which is a breakfast cereal, isn't it?
Oh, you'd think so, yeah. The hairy Youthquake. Well, I don't know about you, but it makes me think of Jeremy Corbyn, which is not something you do more than you need to.
Not something I do lightly, I tell you that now.
But I think it means that kind of seismic event where young people have had this kind of... seismic's the word, isn't it? That was the right word for once. Which it has actually moved the earth, sir. So that's where that's coming from.
This is where millennials get together in a big group and do something.
Yes. Now, before you alienate our entire younger audience,
yeah,
are you all right there, Fred? Then I think I'm here to provide balance, just in case you lay into.
How is that alienating?
Younger members.
I just said if there's like a bunch of millennials.
No, I knew where you were going. You were implying they spend too long in their bedrooms doing video games. I knew the way your mind was working.
That's a hell of a subtext you're reading there, isn't it, really?
I know, but I do know you. I know how your mind works. I could hear it ticking. You didn't need to.
Wow, that was an Adrian quake there. It's amazing, actually. You say that about Youthquake and about Jeremy Corbyn. It's amazing how, when you look at the list of the words, Adrian, it's quite interesting how many relate to politics.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes,
it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because politics is it's like where it interweaves with social media. Is becoming more popular, do you think? I don't know. I'm just thinking of things like Broflake and Antifa and, and all those kind of... They're all kind of like a sort of... have got political resonance, haven't they, with all of these?
They certainly have. I guess the words are going to reflect the times, aren't they? And we are certainly in more politically charged times, I think. Most of us can agree on that.
Yeah.
So let's get into the nitty gritty there with Antifa. You pronounce it. For a moment, I was going to call it Antifa, but that just shows my ignorance. This is a shortening of the term anti-fascist, and not a paradise island that honeymoon couples go to. That's Antigua.
I used to love to visit my Antifa.
And, did you have to go far?
Yeah, Antigua or Antifa. Yeah, I think it's Antifa. Well, that's how I've heard it pronounced. Anyway, Antifa. But I mean, the irony of Antifa is that they're an anti-fascist organisation that tend to operate in a very fascist way. I mean, they'll close down speakers and they'll set fire to a campus and that kind of stuff, because they believe they're on the side of righteousness, and therefore they can act in that way. But that's, if you look up fascist, it's kind of what they do, really. So. Don't
get me started on no platforming. I mean, there are,
Maybe they're just fa instead of antifa. I don't know. Who knows? The one that really caught my attention for all the new words that were out there this time round was did you pronounce it gorpcore?
Well, that was new to me. I have to confess, looking this up. Your guess is as good as mine. I would have gone for gorpcore. A noun. I'm reading here, a style of dress made from materials used in outdoor wear and functional clothing. Why would that suddenly hit the mainstream in 2017? Do we know? I
don't, unless it is a fashion thing, unless I mean, if maybe it's been done by somebody famous and they've decided that that's the thing now. It refers to a trend of functional clothing worn for fashion rather than for practical reasons. So does that mean I was premature in throwing away my snorkel anorak? Could they hoods up, lads? They're making a comeback.
Yeah, well, I mean, coming from radio, of course, we're all anoraks, aren't we?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
When I first heard that term, I did snigger, but that was an awful long time ago, like the start of my radio career. We glossed over Broflake, which, given that I referred to myself last 2 or 3 episodes ago,
a couple of podcasts ago, it was a snowflake. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Which I like, because the reason that I've decided now, the reason I don't mind calling myself that is every snowflake is unique and beautiful. Yeah, that didn't work, did it?
No.
So what's Broflake then, bro?
A Broflake is a man, bit sexist there, but there you go, who is readily
No,
upset.
it only means person, doesn't it? We learnt recently from you.
It's what it says. It says a man here, so I don't know.
Okay.
Is a man a person now, or are we accepting that term? I mean, we've got to go back to definitions for the stars, haven't we? It's a man who is readily upset or offended by progressive attitudes that conflict with his more conventional or conservative views. I was saying to you, we were having a chat about this off air, and I said about Broflake and Snowflake seem like opposite ends of the political spectrum, don't they? If you're a Broflake, you're on the right and are offended by the left. If you're a Snowflake, you're on the left and are offended by the right. That's about right, isn't it?
And if you're in the middle, you're a no-flake.
You're just a flake.
Go with it. Yeah, a bit flaky. How are you on compromat, my friend?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that about being a compromat. I think I might well be a compromat, comrade. This is a Russian origin word, isn't it? I was reading the other day.
It says here a loan word. So I've got the idea that any day now,
they're going to
Putin will come to the door. Yeah, we want our word back.
Yes, give me my word back, please. What does it mean? Compromat. It sounds like something that... Is it somebody who works in the embassy?
Not quite, although they may be handling compromat, allegedly, or compromat. No, I don't think you can pluralise it. It's a noun. It's about compromising information. So we might have guessed that bit. Collected for use in blackmailing, discrediting, or manipulation, typically for our old friend political purposes.
Right. Okay.
Another political term. Interesting. How are you?
Go on.
Sorry, no, you wanted to pick up on that.
No, I was just going to say, like the whole Russian. It does sound Russian, doesn't it? But I think that's because on the list that we've got, they spelt it with a K. I don't know whether that is genuine or whether it is actually is that because it is a Russian word that
I believe so. Yeah. Although they have, isn't there the type called Cyrillic? They've got backwards letter R's and all sorts.
That's their alphabet, isn't it? The Cyrillic, yeah. Which is my wife went to Russia years ago, visited Moscow, and she said it was one of the most difficult countries to visit. I think it was probably in the 80s, after Japan, probably in the 90s actually, after Japan, because you couldn't even guess. Because they don't use the same alphabet because it's all in Cyrillic.
Yeah.
So they were on the underground. You have to count the stops and go, right, we've got to go 5 stops and then change and then go to... because you hadn't got a clue what the word said. It's amazing, isn't it, really? But yeah, sorry, Milkshake Duck was the one that I really liked because I just thought, what? I mean,
exactly.
Or you know what you are. What?
you ruddy milkshake duck, you.
Yes.
I think this is like Cyrillic to your wife and to the rest of us in the West. I couldn't guess what milkshake duck was from the sound of it.
Right.
Could you?
I still don't really know what it is. I still don't know why. I don't understand the I've read the definition about 6 times and I still don't understand the relevance. Do you? I don't get it.
It sounds like Towie or something. Fleeting fame for seemingly fun reasons, only for unsavoury details to come out later. I better be careful what I'm implying, and I won't name any names there.
Oh, that happens quite a lot, doesn't it? That, we in fact, the one we were talking about, was it the last podcast? We were talking about or a couple ago now, the bullying. And then the parents... became famous. That was a milkshake duck, wasn't it? Because and then all of a sudden there were allegations about the parents and their behaviours and practices, and you kind of okay, I get that now. Yeah. Should we finish because we're fast running out of time? Should we finish?
Yes, we must do.
With one that I think sums us up really, because I think we're a pair of newsjackers.
Is that rhyming slang?
Oh, I'm Birmingham newsjackers. The practice.
Oh, please! What an image.
The practice of taking advantage of current events or news stories in such a way as to promote or advertise one's product or brand. I mean, that's this podcast.
Sadly, yes, ruthlessly. Although I have to say, and you'll probably know this because I know how you love Auntie. We're talking the BBC, of course, British Broadcasting Corporation, or as some unkind souls call it, the British Broadcasting Castration.
Corporate castration, yeah.
Something like that. Who coined that? That must have been a long time ago now.
I don't know.
Anyway, there is a show called Newsjack on BBC Radio 4 Extra, which is a sort of satirical look at the news. Brilliant from the bean counting point of view, because the BBC has to worry about where its money goes. It gets people to submit topical jokes. I can't remember if it pays them, but I think you're expected to bask in the glow of having your joke aired.
Which really, I suppose, is the radio equivalent of shoplifting, isn't it?
I couldn't possibly comment as a sometime freelance BBC newsjacker myself, but that's a good term.
He's newsjacking in the stationery cupboard. He'll be with us shortly.
Oh, please. Everything that drops from those silken lips of yours sounds dubious, I have to say.
I'm at a funny age. I've been for a while. That's it for another one. And that's been our look back at some of the things, hasn't it?
Is that all you can say? I think you've been at the cooking sherry, sir.
It was hardly the Christmas special, was it? That one. It was looking back at some of the things from 2017. Listen, if you've enjoyed our company, as we very often say at the end of this podcast, there's loads of places, aren't there, Adrian, that they can catch up with us. But probably the best one, because you get to see the faces that we're pulling while we're saying the stupid things, is...
As well as my Tinseltown around my headphones.
Forgot about that, yeah.
It is YouTube, no less, and the quickest way to find us is just to search Bull and Specs, and you know what to do with the and, or you will do if you've heard previous shows. It needs to be an ampersand, one of those squiggly things above the number 7, rather than spelling out the word and, just the symbol.
Yeah, if you're far too busy to sit and stare at the screen at our lovely faces and funny-shaped heads, then you can, of course, just get the audio version, which is on iTunes and Spreaker and lots of other lovely... Oh, Stitcher is another one, isn't it, that I always forget to say. But in the meantime, listen, we hope you had a lovely Christmas and New Year. We hope you get a nice smartphone that you can download our podcasts and watch them and subscribe to them to your heart's content as well. That's the important thing, isn't it? And we hope somebody buys Adrian a nicer Santa for next year.
Were you looking at my anemic Santa again?
The state of that. I mean, what is that?
Flipping ho.
We're going to have to stop the podcast here just simply so that we can rush Santa to casualty and see if we can get some kind of colour back in his face.
And if you were listening in mono, that was going from left to right.
I love it. In the meantime, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you all through 2018, won't we, mate?
Yeah, whether you like it or not. No, we hope you like it. Happy 2018.